for you, but for me it's good afternoon here. I just want to thank Hindustan College of Arts and Science for allowing me to present in this webinar here. And I also want to thank Professor Dr. Anuradha and we're ever grateful for allowing me to do this webinar here in her university, and especially inviting all of you to come over to hear this talk. I'm ever grateful, I'm very thankful, and I'm glad I'm here and to share these things with you. So shall I proceed with the sharing of my slides?
Yes, ma'am, please, ma'am.
Okay, good. Thank you. Are you able to see? Are you able to
Yes,
see?
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. It is visible, ma'am.
It's okay.
I request the participants kindly pin Sri Naya presentation to see her presentation.
Okay.
Ma'am, kindly you proceed, ma'am. It is visible, ma'am.
Yeah, okay, good. I hope everybody is able to see my slides. Today I'm going to talk about work management. It's a new norm. Now we know after the COVID-19 pandemic, we are now all looking into the new norm. So I'm going to share with you the management aspect of the new norm. Right. My content will be like introduction, management, and what we are going to talk about new norm as well as conclusion. Okay, this is about me. I know Prof just now was telling me some introduction about me. Anyway, included this in my slides. So what I have here is that I have been in Taylor's University for 8 years now under the Faculty of Social Science and Leisure Management, I'm at the School of Hospitality. So some of my examples would be most probably related to hospitality in the travel industry. Over the years, I've taught different modules, mainly because my work experience have been in these areas. So I used to be a human resource manager for many years. At one time, I used to do marketing also for different organizations. And then I was also involved I was also working as a consultant for a strategic company. So so all these are my subjects that I taught. And right now I'm actually teaching hospitality management and leadership. And I'm also involved with the community service initiative. It's a module to support the community, the students to support the community. And as Prof have mentioned, Dr. Anuradha mentioned, I have a master's in psychology. My thesis topic was on stress management. I have a DBA from South Australia, University of South Australia. And my research topic was healthcare risk management. And like she said, I do a lot of social work, and I am involved in a lot of telephone counseling, actually do a lot of telephone counseling. I'm in this group where we help suicidal people who are suicidal. We do a lot of intervention programs to help them out. And so I'm a lot of involved with mental health. So let me start the module today, or the topic today. We are looking at the impact of this pandemic crisis. I'm not going to go into details because I'm sure you have seen a lot in your data. I'm sure you have seen all this in your, in your web, in your internet. You can Google up all this information. But I just want to emphasize that which industry did not have an impact. Okay, every industry in the world, every country in the world had this impact. Okay, the impact of this COVID-19, and you find that there is not one country was left behind, and not one industry was actually not affected. Okay, most industries were negative. Okay, a lot of negative impact. A lot of companies closed up and things like that. But then a lot of companies, a lot of industries also boomed, especially healthcare industry boomed. So it had an impact. It was a positive impact because healthcare industry boomed, manufacturing healthcare products boomed. Okay, a lot of companies also reinvented their business, and that also was a strong impact. So like I said, I'm not going to go into all these, a lot of statistics. You go online, you can see all the statistics, but I'm not, today's topic is not about looking at the COVID-19 statistics. So I'm just going to move on. So as you know, this pandemic is actually an unprecedented one. You know, it's a never happened in our lifetime. There were a lot of other pandemics like the Black Plague and the Spanish flu and all that, but there was an era which was like we were not there, and I don't remember myself having any of this kind of thing. There was swine flu, dengue flu, and all this thing, but it never became pandemic like this, where it's worldwide, millions are dead. Thousands and millions are dead, and millions are already lost jobs and affected. So it is a huge impact to the world. Okay, it's an unprecedented. Never in our lifetime we have gone through this, and so. And you find, you say, never in my lifetime would I thought I'll be doing a webinar with all the participants in India. But that's where it's had a very strong impact, and that's what today we're going to talk about, the management part. So the driving force of this COVID-19, you find major changes. Like I said, it's a new impact. It's a strong impact. Business closed up. A lot of big companies closed up. I come from the travel industry, and you find hotels, restaurants, cafes, fitness center, spas, event companies, all closing up. Okay, theme parks, all these businesses are wrapped up. Some are wrapped up for temporary basis. Some have wrapped up for good. Some are really closed up for good. And we're getting a lot of statistics recently from the Malaysian Association of Hoteliers. We find about almost 30-40% of the hotels are really closed up for good because they couldn't sustain. They cannot sustain. So and then there's also good news that some businesses have restructured, reinvented, and then new ventures have come up. New ideas, new innovations came up. So it is actually not all bad stories. Some are good stories out there. And then you find that this emergence of this necessity, opportunity, entrepreneurs. As we go along, I'll share with you some. You find there's a lot of new entrepreneurs just suddenly sprung up. Okay, they suddenly sprung up, and they came because of there's a necessity, and it was very useful. So it's a good thing that's happening. Some ways good things, something, and in most ways bad things. So, and you find that the entire economy industry is not the same anymore. If you look any part of the world, any industry, you will find it's not the same, and it's not going to be the same for a long time too. Okay, so for a long time, it's going to be still under this effect of this pandemic effect. And so you need to really find some ways to sustain. Okay, and especially because the future is really unclear. Nobody's really got a clue. Vaccines are not found. So it's a lot of uncertainty out there. Okay, and then we move on. So what we're saying now is this new norm or new normal. Now you find this terminology coming up over and over again. It's a new language, in fact. Everyone talks about, you go to a lot of webinars, you look at researchers, you look at the newspaper, this topic keeps coming up. The new norm, the new language, that it's coming up. So today's topic, I'm going to talk about management. And usually it's in general, it's most probably in general, but some it may be a bit more skewed towards the travel industry because that's the industry that I'm related to, and that's the industry I teach. So some of my examples may be skewed that way, maybe more focus on that way. Okay, moving on. I did a sort of a search for this topic, and I got into this Price Waterhouse Cooper website, and I was reading some article, and then they were saying that majority of the professional consultants, the industry leaders, they did a survey, and this is what they came up with. The financial leaders, they're all very optimistic. They seem somehow feel that everything will be back to normal very, very soon. Okay, they all are very optimistic. This is from their survey. So things may not be so bad. It's just maybe a temporary setup, as a setback. I mean, so most probably everything is coming up well. So it's matter of time. This is just matter of time. Now moving on. So I just want to tell you a little bit of work management. It's very basic theory. I'm not going to go in depth. And if you are, if you're teaching management topics, you will know that management itself, like if you're taking an MBA, the management itself is a huge year-long chapter, it's a year-long study. But I'm just going to go very briefly into this theme. So when you look at this management, you always ask what is what, why, how, and all those kind of questions. So relating to that, I want to continue. So there are many definitions. You look any book, you'll find a new definition. You look at any article, there's a new definition. So there's just countless amount of definitions there. But basically, it just comes down to this thing. It means getting work done. A lot of keywords come up with efficiently and effectively. Okay, and using resources available to make sure the organization achieves their goals. So this is something that it's a general terminology that I'm using, a general definition I'm using. Like I said, there's many out there, and it always composes of people. That means a lot of it involves people. Okay, it involves people. Even though you may be a one-man show, but you're one-man business, but you still have to network. So there will be people involved in your under the concept of management. Where do you find it? Tell me where you don't find management. Okay, that's a question I'll ask you back. Where do you find management? It's everywhere. It's in the workplace, it's in the home, in the school, any groups you call it, self groups, you want to have it, your own workplace, you have it, your own home, I'm sure. Okay, you and your family might have some kind of management system down there, and how the household is run. Your own self. Okay, I'm sure you have some time management going on, some kind of planning in your life, some kind of organizing is happening. So it's there everywhere. So that you cannot say that in this place there's no management. Everywhere there's management. Okay, why? You need to keep things in order. You need to solve problems. So you need to have management because there's a you have to keep things moving. And that's life. You have to keep things moving. And if you're talking the business world, you have to maintain this complex relationship with internal, external stakeholders. You always talk about the ecosystem. So you always have to remember there's internal, external stakeholders. So management is very vital, and it's sort of effective for your performance too. You need to have an effective performance. So you need to use proper management. Like I said, it's a part of the definition. We always talk in terms of planning, organizing, leading. Some people have a definition when it comes to leading, they say staffing and directing. But I just put under a main topic that's called leading. And then, of course, you need to have some kind of control. So a little bit of theory here, a little bit of theory. But I'm going to go through very basic. If, like I said, if you're doing a master's in business administration and MBA, all this would be a module by itself. Planning would be a module by itself. Leading would be a module by itself. Maybe a couple of modules, in fact. But then I'm just going to go very basic and very simple. So when you say planning, what it means usually is setting goals, setting plans, setting up your strategies and how you want to run your business. And if you're talking at leading, you're talking about motivating, supervising your staff, very simple definitions. These are very simple definitions. And if you're looking at organizing, you're looking at how you structure your workforce. Okay, you're looking at departments, functions, and you're looking at your organization charts and organization structures and those kind of things. That's when it comes to organizing. And finally, you look at controlling. Okay, controlling is a very good thing. Once you set your plans, once you set your standards up there, you need to look at ways to manage them, and that's controlling. That is to make sure everything is check and balance. It's like a check and balance. You want to make sure everything is moving on smoothly and it's all going all right. Okay, so I hope with this, I mean, it's okay, you are okay. Later, if you have any questions later, of course, you can share with me. But I'll just go on, okay. I am not able to see the chat group there, but if you have any questions, you can ask me later. Just going to move on. Okay, when you look at management also, optimally, you have to manage your resources. They always talk, when you say a definition, there's always a resource coming in. So you need to manage this to make sure your business is running effectively, efficiently. Machines, manpower, you manage your people, you manage your money, that's your capital, your investment is there, you manage methods and machines and materials. Okay, so a lot of documentation you need to keep. You need to manage all this, how do you say, manage your people, manage your staff, making sure your money is working for your business. So these are your resources that we talk, right? The 5M. And then we look at characteristics of the management. Again, I'm going to ask you a question. Tell me where management is not used. So it's universal, everywhere, every country, every business. Every home maybe have some kind of management going on. Okay, so it's universal and usually it's goal focused. The reason we have management is that's because you need to achieve a goal. If you don't have, you're aimless, maybe you don't need so much of management, but if you're running a business, there's always a goal to achieve. So it's always goal focused. Okay, and of course, you know, it's an ongoing process. It's never ending. Every way, anytime when you finish one project and you finish one semester, I assume all of you are faculty staff. So you finish one semester, one term, and then there's another term coming up and you have to do your management again. So it's an ongoing process. It's just endless, okay? And it's always people oriented. Okay, and if you're looking at the faculty side, always we're dealing with students and other faculty members. Okay, dealing with your supervisors, dealing with your staff. Okay, so those kind of, it's people oriented. Okay? Every sense is people oriented. Like I said, even if you're a one-man business, one-man entrepreneur, you're dealing with customers. So you still need to have people orientation there. Multifunction, okay, if you're taking a hotel industry, for example, if you're taking a hotel, you have front office, you have F&B, you have HR, you have housekeeping, you have a finance department, you have a security department. So it's multifunction. Every department needs this management and every department will be doing their own management. It's dynamic. Okay, it's ever changing. That's why I said it's ongoing process. So it's always dynamic and it's unperishable. You cannot. Okay, it's actually a perishable thing because once it's there, it's done, it's gone. Okay, so it's perishable and it's also intangible. You cannot measure it. You cannot see it. You cannot touch it. It's a function. So it's an ongoing thing, and that's where you move on. I am moving on. So management, it's a huge dynamic, and it's there everywhere. So I want to make a stand now. Okay, we have this term now. Like I said, the new language. Everybody's talking about new norm, new norm, new normal, new normal. But then I read an article, and then it says there, is it really a new norm? Is it really a new normal that we are talking about? Okay, so I want to make a stand here. Okay, because it's, I'm talking about this topic, and then suddenly you can't turn around and tell me, no, it's not, no, it's not a new norm, it's been there. So I'm making a stand before you tell me. I'm making a stand by saying that yes, all these have been happening before, but today we realize in current times it's there. It's really heightened. It's really high level of activities are happening. Work from home. Yes, I agree. A lot of us use, a lot of industry used to work from home. I know interior designers, architects, IT professionals used to all work from home. Okay, but now you find it's not only them. Everybody is working from home. Okay, even the banking industry, which you never heard about, they are working from home. Every industry out there is working from home. So that it's really heightened. The concept has really heightened. Of course, you know, e-shopping, online shopping, e-wallet, and all has been there. I know in India, it's Amazon.com and all are used to be very popular shopping sites. But then now, even I used to hate this online shopping, but now even I'm addicted to online shopping. Okay, because it's there. That's the only thing to do. Going to the mall was high risk, but now in Malaysia, we already opened up. Malls have opened up, and yet you find a lot of shops have already sort of closed, maybe closed for good or what, I'm not sure. But then it's online shopping. It's really big thing, big business now. Food delivery, I know in India, especially food delivery is very popular. I used to come very regular to Chennai, as well as going to Cochin and all that. Food delivery used to be very popular. But now, in Malaysia, food delivery was always contained within Food Panda, contained within Grab Food, and you know, like Domino's. Of course, you also have Domino's, pizzas. We used to be all very, very limited food delivery. Okay, but now the local Chinese restaurant is also doing food delivery. A lot of other smaller restaurants are doing food delivery. So it's like really massively, because people want to sustain their business. And the only way they can sustain their business is to do business change their way of doing business. Okay, change their setup more so that it will help them to survive the pandemic. So food delivery has gone up, crisis management. I'm sure every organization, every in your case, it could be every faculty had their own crisis management. We always maintain our crisis management to fire safety. Okay, in case of a fire, what would you do? In case of a flood, what would you do? That's it. That was what our crisis management all taught us. But now you find our crisis management went beyond that. It's a lot of SOPs, a lot of policies, a lot of regulations. Government has pushed down a lot of regulations and policies. So it's really a new level of crisis management now. And of course, business competition. Always we had business competition. So there is not a place we never had business competition. But now the competition is not just your business. You will find your neighbor who's a housewife. She's also doing business now. The entrepreneurship is also there. Okay, so it's really different. So now I'm just going to go into the new norm, planning for the new norm, and I just want to explore this part. I just want to maintain this new norm within the planning.
Ma'am, just a second, ma'am. I request the participant kindly mute your audio, otherwise you will be removed. Ma'am, you please continue, ma'am. Sorry for the disturbance, ma'am. I remove her, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so the new norm in planning now. Just going to go back again to the definitions of management under the PLOC. We always say PLOC, P-L-O-C is planning, leading, organizing, and controlling. So I start with planning. So the new norm now, it's like, I'm seriously asking it, it's no more long-term planning. Who's planning long-term now? We don't even know what's happening in 6 months' time. So the focus now, the new language again, another new language keep coming up is the business continuity plan. Like everybody is no more talking about long term. In 5 years time, my organization is going to be like that. I used to be a consultant, and this is what I used to do. I used to go to these organizations and tell them, look here, you need to think strategic planning for long term. So, but now we will not even think about long term, because everybody is now looking at what is short term, how they can adapt now, how they can put their priorities now. It's always now. So all this vision, mission, and all these things, that all these fancy stated goals and all these things they had, you know, it's very impressive out there. I'm going to be the premier restaurant, I'm going to be the leading hotel, or I'm going to be the exclusive business and things like that. All that doesn't hold water now anymore, okay? Because it's changed. New norm right now is how to sustain. If you look at the hotels, I have a lot of friends in the hotels now, in the hotel business. All of them are crying. Somehow they have no salary. But they are in the business, and supposed to be in the in the system, but they don't get salary. So they are all actually now looking at when they can start opening back their business, and it's when they're waiting to start back. So it's very short-term planning. You need to think about reshaping a strategic planning now for your business continuity. So I said the new word now is the business continuity plan kind of thing. Re-look into your competitors. Who are your competitors? Are you looking, if you are in the industry now, who are your real competitors now? You find it is no more, if you're looking at a restaurant, for example, okay, your competitors may not be the restaurant next door or in the neighborhood or something like that, because that is the competitor you used to look out for. Okay, if suppose you're having a restaurant in this neighborhood, you will know there's another restaurant open nearby. You'll be always watching out what that person is doing, because your competition is coming from the same, the same customers, right? But now you're past that stage. We already no more looking at that. We are looking at the new auntie who has opened up her home cooked food delivery, and she's cooking from her own house, and she's delivering and serving food. So you're looking at those kind of competition now, and it's really changed. So you have to find ways to be resilient. You have to find ways to sustain your business. That's the key word again. I'll share with that again. Sustaining again, coming back, sustaining. Okay, when you look at planning, we always look at financial plan. One of the main thing in planning is looking at the goals and planning, and one of the main planning is the financial planning, right? Where's your budget going to be? How's your budget going? Everybody talks budget. If you're looking in the business, everybody talks budget. Everybody talks about financial year end. We're talking about what kind of audits and things like that. But now, it is totally a different thing. Your financial plans have to be very flexible. You need to know, you need to have your capital and resources to sustain. Otherwise, that's what I said, a lot of companies close down, okay, because they are not able to sustain. A lot of restaurants, a lot of even clothes shops, I'm noticing a lot of businesses have closed down because they cannot sustain. Grocery shops, all kinds of shops have really closed down. It's just that they don't have the capital, they don't have the resources to sustain, right? So, and that is where the new norm now, you need to think about flexibility and how economical can you manage. How can you cut down a lot of things? So when you look down, a lot of companies have downsized. To sustain, downsizing have been one of the answers. Now moving on, okay, real practical goals, and you're looking at contingency plans. Okay, a lot of people had this, in case of a situation, there's a contingency plan, we will do this, we have it fancily written down in some kind of a policy, and we keep it, but now it's beyond policy and beyond keeping it beautiful in your shelf. Now you have to put it into action. Okay, so your contingency plan has to be an action plan with operationally and directionally. You have to put on these action plans. Okay, so you also need to look at operational risk. Where's your risk? Where is your risk coming from? Is it your business part? Is it your own resources? Is this a competition part? Where's your risk involved? Is a financial risk involved, or is it you have? Do you have any backup insurance to support you? So these are areas you need to think about. So that's where the planning part. Now moving on to organizing. This is another topic, organizing. Your workforce is totally changed. Your workforce is totally missing in your office. They're all at home. So it's a fragmentation of your employment. So your employees are all fragmented. So it's all in different locations, most probably. And a lot of companies, like I said, downsizing. So we're talking about retrenchment. A lot of companies already taken a pay cut. Okay, so salaries have been cut. Major companies, big companies. We hear news, and when you read up articles, you find major companies have all taken a pay cut. Have to sustain. You have no choice to sustain. And then you find they also bring up new skills, multi-skills and innovations. Fantastic innovations have really come up. So it is really interesting to know how the work has been reorganized and restructured totally different. Okay, physically we are all no more in your own departments already now. Okay, you may be in department virtually. Okay, if you have a department meeting, you might be meeting up virtually, but then it's not there. Physical department, physical structure is no more there. And in Malaysia, we restarted. Okay, about 2 weeks, about a week ago to 2 weeks ago, we restarted. So you find now the physical environment has started. Again, we have to re-look into safe distancing and making sure social distancing is there. Employees are not sitting very close to each other. Universities, in my university, Taylor's University, we have slowly started to bring in students for practical classes only. Okay, so no more the theory classes are all still online, but for practical classes we really started slowly. Again, the hours have extended because those days we can have practical classes with 30 people. Now our practical classes is only with 10 people, 10 students. So we have to think about the distance, social distancing. And then you're talking about if you're working from home, what are the constraints at home? Is that space at home? Is that family time? Whether we have family disturbance, do you have time? Like I'm the time when I'm doing classes in between, I'm running out to do some cooking and then I'm coming back. So we're doing a lot of juggling around. So that is really reorganizing actually. A lot of organizations have really thought about reskilling, upskilling. So your training is going on, like for us now, because it's all online. We've been doing a lot of training of staff and myself included. We have to train on how to do a new way to do assessment. Last time we used to have like say practical assessment. We used to have the student there demoing how to do the bed or doing maybe a cooking demo on certain kind of cuisines. Now we have no way. They now slowly, I think this last week they started, but previously a few weeks ago, the only way you can do a practical test is ask the student to take a own video at their own house and then upload this video into the system, and that's how we view to see whether they are doing the right thing or not. So practical classes have really changed. And so we are also trained, and now you see we need to teach the children how to teach the students on how to do this video and what to expect. So we need to do a lot of training ourselves, and we're using technology nonstop. In my time, in my life, I was teaching. There was Zoom, yes, of course, there was Zoom and Teams, but we hardly use them. We don't need them. We wanted to see them face to face and do. But now we all are expert in Zoom. in Teams. So we learn new platforms, we learn new technologies, and then we are engaged in automation. Really, a lot of remote work is happening. Okay, AIs are maximum use, IoTs are maximum use now. So it's really a new way of managing things, right? Lastly, I'll look at new collaboration. You feel that, like I said, because we are bringing in new technology, somehow technology seems to survive everywhere. Okay, and technology has moved a really huge different level of technology. So the ecosystem of technology has really opened doors to many industries because of technology. Yeah? And you have project-based relationship, talent-based kind of arrangement with workforce. You're not just looking at people now, we're looking at talent. We're going to see what can you come up with, because I'm not seeing you face to face, but I'm expecting your output from you. So it's more of talent based. Similarly, it's about global talent market. You need to look at the global. A lot of people are engaging consultants overseas, okay, which don't need the staff already. So I am downsizing. I'm letting you go. I don't know whether it's a good thing or bad thing. I'm letting you go. Physically, I don't want you in my payroll, but I'm engaging somebody in another part of the world, and I'm expecting you to do this work for me. So it's a global talent market is happening. May not be a good outcome, may not be a good thing because the local markets are suffering, but still this is what happening. Again, we look at local supply. So it's some things are good, some things are not so good. We are shifting towards local supply chain. I'll give you a good example in my own life. We used to go to these Indian grocery shops, and we used to get, there are a few grocery shops around in KL. I live in Kuala Lumpur area, and there's a few shops in Kuala Lumpur that brings in a whole lot of spices and Indian goods from India. Okay, but because of this lockdown, this past 2-3 months of lockdown that we've been experiencing, no supplies were coming from India. No spices were coming from India. No masala, all was coming from India. Okay, even the vegetables we used to import in those days. But for the 3 months, there was no supply coming in because there were no trade, no business, no imports happening. So what happened is that suddenly the local supplies boomed. So like I said, this auntie, okay, a neighborhood auntie now would have started to make garam masala and business. This local auntie now started to make new spices and how to pack them, and she's already selling them. So now in the market, you find, especially using social media, all these new business people have boomed. Okay, new business people have come up to supply their local supplies, because we sort of depended on the global supply and imports, but now we realize the local supply also can be sustaining our business here. Okay, moving on. I hope you have time. New norms in leading. I'll go a bit more faster. I like to talk. That's my biggest weakness here. Okay, so new norms in leading. How can we be flexible? We're talking about flexible. It's a new way of working, remote control, but you don't have a direct control. And then you realize you are not having face-to-face. You're not seeing your staff working. And so the trust issue is there. You don't know whether they're really working or not working. At the same time, you will find that you need to focus on the talent of the employees. Okay, so we realized there's a lot of success in this focusing on this talent and output. So we talk about 3 E's here: engaging them, encouraging creativity, and then you're empowering workforce. A lot of companies talk about empowering. For some reason, because of this pandemic, and because it's work from home, because it's remote work happening, a lot of bosses now slowly let go of this controlling attitude of their management. Okay, they have no choice but to empower, no choice but to encourage creativity, no choice but to depend on output talent more than the person itself. Okay, so again, you'll find there is a balance. You need to think about motivation and criticism. You find a lot of abuse happening also from the employer side. A lot of companies are letting go of their staff, and that's a sad part. A lot of people lost jobs. A lot of people lost jobs, and that's abuse. So you find that because your profit is going to be affected, you let go, you downsize, you let go of all your stuff, and with the promise that when business boom up, we will invite you in, we will ask you to come in. But then we don't know. There's a lot of abuse happening. At the same time, employees also abusing. Okay, I know of so many people who so-called supposed to be in the house, but because you're working in the office, you work 9 to 5. But because you're working in the house, you are no more working 9 to 5. Actually, you're not sitting at your workplace 9 to 5. You're sitting in the house. You're most probably coming up with some output, yes, right? But you're doing a lot of well-being, mental state have gone very high, very disturbed a lot. Okay, so we are now asking the employers to be compassionate, to be empathetic. Okay, there is a contrast between whether you are caring, at the same time where you're showing concern, you're showing your caringness, and at the same time, whether you are able to get that output out, the productivity, yeah. And then of course, lastly is the ethics. Regular communication. Are you open? Are you transparent? Are you telling the staff what is happening? So you actually, as an employer, you are morally responsible to your staff. You're morally responsible to your students. But are you really supporting them? Being right. Ethically, always we talk about, in ethics, we always talk about being right. So that is also one of the things to look at. Controlling. Okay, in the control part, we always say corrective measures. So if your plans standards have changed, then of course your controls have to change too. Your control has to be more sustaining. You need to cope with the stress and the threat perception. A lot of people actually, like I said, when I do this counseling on the phone, a lot of people have this perception. Basically, it's the perception. There's nothing actually really changed or nothing happened, but it's a perception of fear, of threat. There's something going to be happening. Some people were so paranoid to even go out because they're so scared they're going to get this COVID virus thing. So it's just a perception. So you need to put in a lot of control mechanism. Governance is there. Okay, your organization has a strong accountability over your staff, your students, and all those things. Okay, and of course, stability. Control mechanisms are put in to make sure everything is running smoothly, everything is stable, everything is fine and all okay. But then, is it happening? Is it something that we can achieve in near future? I'm not sure. Okay, so these are areas to think about. I'm moving a bit fast. I hope you don't mind. Like I said, COVID-19 brought in a lot of total disruption. Trust me, it's a lot of total disruption. You can claim there's sort of positive outcome out there also. Yes, there were, but you find totally disruption. Thousands have lost job, millions have lost job. Reading an article, something like 2 million have lost jobs worldwide. People have lost their income. People lost family members. Thousands and thousands have died. Thousands and thousands are still, in the hospitals. A lot of countries are badly affected. A lot of countries came out. Okay, so and in the road of recovery, and then suddenly there's a new wave coming back. So it is total disruption. It's total disruption happening because of thing. So I like to go on to talk about the challenges. Okay, because like I said, it's brought so much a disruption, a lot of challenges. And I like to address these challenges based on questions. I'm questioning you, but for you to ponder, for you to think about. So it's difficult to assess now. Now it's a difficult stage. Where are we right now? Suddenly we, like in Malaysia, we've been so far good. Okay, past 1 week has been quite good. Initially when we were on the road of recovery, we were like all having so much SOPs and a lot of lockdowns, and then it slowly moved on to partial lockdown and all that. And suddenly there's a new boom of cluster coming up. Okay, suddenly one new boom of clusters have come up, and then like we are really restarting all over again. Okay, but so far, Touchwood, 1 week ago, it's been quite good. So where are we now? If we're talking Malaysia, we are in the stage of recovery. But then a lot of them have not gone back to normal. A lot of hotels not yet open. A lot of travel industry not yet open. A lot of airlines not traveling yet. Okay, especially the international flights are not open yet. International flights have started slowly, but not really back to normal. Are we waiting for another wave? We don't know. Okay, so it's actually in a difficult stage to make an assessment. We really don't know what's going to be a new wave. As of now, 1 week, the cases have been like, past few days, the cases have been 0, but then we don't know. Now we're looking at multi-functional, multi-focus. Where should we pay attention to? Should we pay attention to our business, our profit, business continuity, sustaining, or should we concentrate on the employees? Should we think about the shareholders who pumped in the money? Or are we thinking about the government policies and the SOPs and things like that? Are we looking at the customers? So what are we focusing on? There's so many areas to think about. This is the era where it's not so straightforward. Running a business, doing management, it's not so straightforward anymore. It's not like thinking about your business, thinking about your profit, looking at your customers and see how you can push your business through. It's no more like that. We have to think about the government policy at one side. We have to look at the SOPs at one side. We have to look whether we are making the right decision. Should we continue? Should we close up? Should we downsize? Should we re-recruit? Should we outsource? Is our staff okay? Is the staff going through a mental breakdown? Should we concentrate on that? So these are a lot of focus. Is a real challenge right now. Okay. Again, another question I want to ask you. A lot of negative stories. Everywhere you turn, it's so depressing at one time. Honestly, we just look at any social media, it's all depressing story. You look at the TV news, all depressing stories. Okay, there was very little positivity. The media's job is to bring up bad stories because bad stories sell, but good stories doesn't sell. Okay, consistently, constantly, non-stop negative story, right? But and a lot of them could be fake stories, especially when you're looking at your WhatsApp and you're looking at your Facebook. A lot of them can be fake stories. Who should we believe? That is also a big thing. Business people, who should you believe? You're reading this, you're reading that, you're seeing this, you're reading that, you're talking to people, you get a lot of news. You're overwhelmed with information, you overload with information. Who should you believe? Who should you listen to? Which direction would you take? That is a big challenge for you in the new norm. Okay, right, moving on. New norm is a reality. There's no running away from this. It is happening. It's there. That's the one that's happening right now. There is no way you're going to escape from this new thing that you have to do. Like I said, the challenges are so real. Okay, whether you have to, there's a lot of things you need to think about. So it is a lot of information. You overload with information too. So the challenges are real. The new norm is a real thing. Okay, you need to think about adaptability, thinking about safety. You need to plan new way of doing things, a new modus operandi. What is the thing you have to start? How you want to start your business? How you want to think about the new way of doing things? Simple things like gloves, and you need to have gloves everywhere. Mask, you have to have your mask. A new way of operating things now. Okay, new collaborations coming up, where you have to find that you will be to run your business. You need to join venture with people. Maybe you need to think about merging. Maybe you need to tie up joint ventures. So it is something that it's your organization need to think about. This webinar is a perfect example of how collaboration works. Honestly, before this thing, before I knew Prof. Anuradha, I had no idea that this Hindustan College of Arts and Science exists. I know there are millions of colleges and universities happening in India, but then because this is new collaboration and because there's an outreach, okay, through a friend of mine, we outreached and I came to know Prof. Anuradha, and this new collaboration happened, and it happened because of this new technology. And I'm meeting you from miles away, thousands of miles away. Okay, if I take a flight from me to come to Chennai, it will be a 3 hours to 3.5 hours flight. Okay, so yeah, I'm thousands and thousands kilometers away, and yet through technology, I'm able to meet up with you. I'm able to see you. I'm able to talk. I'm able to even have a set of present a paper with all of you. So it's just amazing what is happening right now. Okay, of course, your priorities also changed. Your focus of attention has been changed, and you need to relook into your priorities. What is the thing that you are looking for? Is it employees, your business, your profit? In the long run, do we think long run or looking at short term priorities where we are, where should we focus on? Okay, so we just move on. I'm concluding. Okay, concluding. I think time-wise we are quite good. Okay, concluding. Key takeaway. Something for you to remember, something for me to conclude about this paper today. Organizations have to be organic. Okay, we talk, it's like some article I was reading, they said organizations are living now. Okay, it's no more a dead thing, it's a living organization. That means it's happening, it's changing, it's flexibility, being agile. Those are the areas that you need to think about. Digitalization has really boomed now. You know, you find that everything else have changed, but then you find digitalization has really sustained itself very well. Okay, virtual platforms, new platforms. I heard India has come up with a new Zoom. Okay, instead of having Zoom, which is from UK or US and all that, instead of having Google, you have now new platforms have coming up. Okay, new machines have come up. So you find that digitalization is really sustaining itself and it's moving forward. This is a good place to start. Digitalization is a good, it's still sustaining. Huh? And then again, coming back to your employees, to your staff, the focus of productivity versus being compassionate. Are you kind? Are you caring? Are you showing concern? Are you being right ethically? Or are you just focusing on productivity and you know, just output? So somehow I feel managers now have to have both of these qualities, pushing your employees to do performance at the same time to be supporting of them, right? Know your battles, strategize your battles. This is always a management guru always talk about these kind of things. Okay, all management gurus talk about this. Okay, know your battle. What are you what's a battle right now? Is this a pandemic is a battle, or the way you run business is a battle now? What is a battle? The way you manage was different, but now you're managing it differently. That could be a battle. Or the government has put in a lot of policies and rules and SOP. Is that your battle? So what is your battle? You need to know, and knowing your battle, you need to strategize it. End of the day, it's a winning thing. You have to win. It's a win-win solutions you need to look at. So Only if you strategize, you're able to win that battle, right? Okay, change your mindset, ability to adapt. Everybody, changing a mindset is very important, and you're able to adapt. Continuing on that, let me just share you here. Change and sustaining is a new norm. Okay, so the definition of management, just wrapping up, the definition of management, this is another new definitions, but like I said, definitions are many out there. Coordinating and administrating work effectively, efficiently in order to achieve the organizational goal using available resources. That is, and that will be your definition of management. Okay, but now the new surge of opportunities can arise if a change of mindset happens. Okay, change in your operation, maybe change in the way you run business, change in your product. Maybe you were thinking about doing, I was telling another story I need to share with you, just 2 minutes, 1 minute. I have a cousin who lives in Pondicherry in India. And I'm always like liaising with her for some handicrafts and things like that. So this time when I messaged her and I said, she knows of a group like a home-based entrepreneurs. You know, in Pondicherry, there's a lot of small entrepreneurs, small home-based businesses and all that. So I asked her whether any of this tailors, is a tailoring business. So I asked any of your tailoring doing any of the handicrafts and things like that. And she said, you know, Chichi, nobody is doing any more tailoring for handicrafts already. Why? Because they are all doing masks. They have all changed their product. They are no more tailoring Punjabi suits or craft or metal, any kind of craft, because they are not selling anymore. What is selling is mask. What is selling is the PPE, gowns and all this protective gears and all these things. So the entire business of this tailoring group, the entrepreneurs there, have changed into the product is more towards what is needed now. Mask is needed now. The gowns are needed now. So change your product, changing customers. So they are no more thinking about people like me who want to buy some handicraft stuff from there. They are looking at medical people and people who are actually need a mask and all these PPE gowns and things like that. Okay, change in managing how they manage their business. I'm sure now the business, when you change your operations, you change your product, the management part also changes, right? So the new norm is trying to be resilient. Your resilient workforce, people who are action-oriented, proactive, adaptive, optimistic, tenacious, determined, open-minded, resourceful, able to cope with uncertainty. My God, the reason I'm getting a lot of calls telling me that they are depressed, they don't know how to cope, is because they cannot cope with this uncertainty. They cannot cope with this new thing that's happening. Okay, and you need to have people who are have an appetite to innovate and take risk. Now, the big question I want to leave is, do you fit in this resilient workforce? Are you having any of these qualities? Are you having any of these characteristics? Your personal personality, your personal values. If you're having these, you are resilient. Okay. But if not, time to change, time to sustain. Okay, ending here, new norm brings forth new exploration. It's very good to explore new things. It's a pandemic era you cannot forget. Trust me, you never forget this era. Rest of your life, I think up to your grandchildren, you will tell the story. What is happening, what happened, this time how you lived and how you survived, you know. So it's a story that you'll never forget. It's a lesson to change, lesson to learn, lesson to manage. Of course, this is a management course, so I'm teaching you. It's a lesson to manage. My references are there. And thank you.